our first Top Rank's first World Championship event of 2021. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I know it's been a long wait, but I think this is well worth it. We return to action from the MGM Grand Bubble Saturday night, live on ESPN in the US and Box Nation in the UK, with a great main event. Joe Smith Jr. against Maxim Vlasov for the vacant WBO light heavyweight championship of the world. In the co-main event, an excellent lightweight matchup between Richard Commey in his first bout since losing the world title to Teofimo Lopez against Jackson Marinez, who you also a few months ago get the short end of the stick in an extraordinarily controversial decision, loss against Rolando Romero. So those will be the top two fights on ESPN, but we also have a bunch of great fights underneath that, including a highly anticipated heavyweight matchup between I think in everybody's opinion, one of the sports, if not the sport's top young heavyweight prospect, Jared Anderson, 7-0, 7 knockouts. And this is a fight that he asked for. He asked Top Rank for it, and he's received it. Kingsley eBay, who was 2-0-1 in the bubble last year, became a cult favorite, a fan favorite inside the bubble. In his last two fights, he defeated the previously undefeated Patrick Mailata. And then in his last bout, he held 2016 Olympian Guido Vianello, big heavyweight prospect, to a draw. Many people thought he won that fight. Jared still said, bring on Kingsley eBay. So he asked for it. We gave it to him. And just there, as I said, a reminder, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on ESPN. All the undercard action will take place beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific time. A lot of great prospects, including Eric Puente, in action on the ESPN Plus undercard stream. So before we get to the main event and co-main fighters, we have the heavyweight sensation from Toledo, Ohio, Jared, the real Big Baby Anderson. Let's get it correct. The real Big Baby, not Big Baby, because I know there's been multiple Big Babies, so he wants to set the record straight. He is here with us today, so I'm going to open it up to Jared. I mean, we talked about this before, Jared, but you had a big 2020, sort of garnered a lot of attention for sparring with Tyson Fury, knocking out everybody you faced. What are you looking to accomplish here in 2021?
I'm looking to be dominant. I'm looking to get the best fights. I want to beat prospects. I don't want to beat bums or anybody who hasn't fought anybody. I want to fight people who have good backgrounds, good pedigrees, amateur champions, things of that nature. So I'm looking to prove myself all this 2021, ready for whatever.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us on the call. You've been through this before, but in case you've forgotten, please use the raise hand button on the Zoom to ask questions. If you cannot figure that out, please message me privately in the group, but not to everybody. Just message me, and I will put you in the queue as well. But preferably use the raise hand button in order to ask questions. If you cannot figure out either of those methods, you can text me, but I prefer you not, because I have enough things going on here without getting a bunch of text messages. So we will kick things off. First question will come from the man who figured out how to raise his hand first, JR Bell. JR, I'm going to unmute you, and please ask your question when ready.
Hey there, what's going on, brother Jared?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing all right. Seeing that you're, coming from Toledo, that's very historical boxing city there. Like, how is it, coming from that particular city and working with the coaches there, like your coach, Derry Riley?
It's great. I love the atmosphere, really. My city is a big boxing city, so it's really second nature. Love all the love and support I get. And my coach, of course, is the best coach in the city. That's why I got with him, but he also started me, so it's a loyalty thing for me and him. But it's a lot of good coaches in the city. I respect all of them, take advice from them. They all look out and help out with help out with different tips and things of that nature. But my coach, to me, is the best, and we get the job done. So I love it. I love it there.
I mean, I've talked with him recently, and he said like you've gone back and forth between Toledo and I think it's Houston right now. So how has that, been going with that schedule?
It's been good. I actually just recently moved to Houston, so now I reside there to make it permanent. I had to get out the city, just a lot of distractions. Want to stay focused and better myself. It's a lot of different opportunities in Houston, so yeah, I moved there, but it's been good though. I've been getting some good work and things like that. So I'm also working with my strength coach more often. So we got a lot more things coming.
And thank you very much, JR. I think one of Jared's camp partners was in the background. Yep, just walking around. And JR mentioned that they just moved to Houston full time. But I think once we get fans back, he'll be able to sell a lot of tickets over in Toledo once we can get full crowds back here into stands. Our next question comes from Jake Donovan from Boxing Scene. Jake, please go ahead when ready.
Thank you very much, Evan. Jared, thank you very much for doing this call. Looking forward to seeing you back in the bubble this weekend. I wanted to ask, what was it about Kingsley EBay that you really, really wanted this fight? Because it's not just an opponent they offer to you. This is something I know you've targeted for a while.
He's an opponent who actually has heart, who wants to fight. Is not going to just lay down. He's going to actually fight, and he has something for me. So I love to prove a point and make a statement with him.
Okay. What did you think of his bubble performances that you've seen? I know you've seen a few of them up close and personal.
Yeah, I think he was a fighter. I mean, like I said, I want to prove a point. So I'm tired of everybody coming in on Top Ranks post saying that I'm fighting bums and fighting people who just want to lay down. So I'm looking to fight somebody who they think and started to enjoy watching him fight, so I could pick him apart and win the fight easily. Then they'll see that I'm really the best prospect there is.
Definitely. And I know you have a different opinion of the opposition you faced than, maybe some of your critics, but where would you rank Kingsley compared to the guys you have faced?
Top, for sure. I think he's definitely better than every person I've fought.
Yeah. Okay. And then, Evan, can I ask one more question?
Yeah, yes. One more, Jake, sure.
Okay, thanks, Jared. I did want to ask, what has it been like for you? I mean, literally more than half of your career has now taken place in the bubble. Like, did you ever envision, like, this is how, the early stages of your career would play out?
Not even close. But I'm not upset with it. I'm actually really blessed and happy to be as active as I am, especially being with all that's going on. So, I didn't imagine it, but I can't be mad at it at all.
Thank you very much, Jake. And our next question will come from Jeremy Harridges. Jeremy, please unmute and go ahead when ready.
Hi, Jared. Looking at Kingsley's last fight with Guido Vianello, I was curious to hear what you thought about his performance and what did that tell you about Kingsley EBay as a fighter? I
picked it apart. I dissected it myself. I didn't think it was too great of a performance. Seeing he got tired and think that he could have done a lot of different things. But, I mean, hey, that's what I plan to show myself. So I don't want to tell everybody my game plan, but just know that I didn't think it was that great of a performance, and it definitely can be dismantled easily.
You're a young fighter early on into your career. You're already rated 38th in the heavyweight division by BoxRec.com. Do you have a timeline in your head when you could see yourself entering a top 20 or even a top 10 type scenario?
2021. That sounds about right.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. And next, we're going to go across the pond to our friends at Pro Boxing Fans, Jonathan Nagyoff. Sorry. Please go ahead when ready, sir.
Cheers, Evan. Hey, Jared. Just a quick one from me. I just want to know what you're going to show us that's different this year in 2020. You had a great 2021, rather. You had a great 2020. Do you want to show us anything different, or is it going to be the same Jared Anderson we saw in 2020?
I mean, the only difference I have to show is the diversity of myself. I think I kind of show some of that with Rodney Hernandez. I showed I can box on my back foot. I'm still a puncher, though. I do like coming forward, but if I need be, I can box. So I plan to show that more and show that I can actually pick opponents apart and not just be one-dimensional. So that's what I plan to show all 2021.
Do you want rounds at all this year? You yet to go past 4 rounds so far. Do you want to bank those rounds, or are you happy just to get the stoppage wins?
I'm happy to get the stoppage wins. I know I'm in shape. Me and my strength coach, strength and conditioning coach, we know what we have in the tank. So I'm happy to get the stoppages. I'm not too much worried about the rounds at this point.
Cheers, Jared.
Thank you, Jonathan. We got a couple more minutes with Jared. So please, anybody wants to ask a question, raise. We got one final one because we have Jackson Marinez. Okay, Luke Kettle, actually raising your hand in the video does not count. Please use the raise hand mechanism. They just makes it a lot easier. We do have a question from Crystal Hart. Crystal, please go ahead when ready.
Hi, Jared. I'm out here in Warren, Youngstown area right now in Ohio. So it's pretty cold out here. What we wanted to ask you is, I just want to know what your thoughts are on the heavyweight division, because it's been since the Klitschko's sort of stepped down, it's pretty wide open. And what are your thoughts on this division?
I think it's pretty wide open. Other than the top 3 fighters, everything else is just a toss-up and up for debate. That's where I come in and plan to be in that top 4 now, hopefully before their reign is over with. But if they happen to go before then so be it. That just means it's more room for me. But I plan to be in the top 4 of those Anthony Joshua's, Deontay Wilder's, and, Tyson Fury. So it's, like you said, pretty wide open. I don't see anybody stopping me or anybody that puts a big hole in my plans.
Thank you very much, Crystal. And we're gonna let Jared go because we have. So Jared, thank you again so much for joining us today. Again, Kingsley eBay. It's going to be a Saturday night in the ESPN Plus portion. He's looking to go 8-0 with his 8th knockout. So Jared, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you Saturday night, sir.
See you Saturday night.
Thanks, Jared. All right. So now we have Jackson Marinez on the line with us. A heads up to everybody. We also have Gardy Lopez here who will handle the translating. So please wait for him to translate. If you ask a question in Spanish, again, please wait for Gardy to translate so that way the English speakers on here can get their answers in as well. So I'm going to start off. Jackson, welcome, and please can you tell us how excited you are for this opportunity. Getting it so soon after that Rolando Romero fight that so many people thought you won. Gardy?
I'm here.
Yes. Can you please ask him how excited he is to have this opportunity so soon after that Rolando Romero fight?
Jackson, la pregunta es, ¿cómo te sientes emocionado de tener esta oportunidad tan temprano luego de la pelea contra Romero?
Bueno, primeramente, gracias, muy buena tarde, gracias por la invitación. Me siento bien, me siento súper emocionado por la gran oportunidad que se nos ha brindado, por la nueva puerta que se nos ha abierto después de lo sucedido en mi anterior pelea.
First of all, good afternoon to everyone. I'm very excited for this opportunity. I'm ready to go after what happened in my last fight.
Okay, and again, everybody, please use the raise hand feature or send me a direct message on the chat, and we will get you in the queue to ask questions. So first, we are going to go to Ivan Montiel. Ivan, please go ahead when ready. Ivan?
Buen día, campeón. La pregunta que te quería hacer es sobre esta pelea contra Richard Commey. Vimos la última pelea que tuviste entre Rolando Romero. No salieron las cosas como debían de salir, pero salieron ahora buenas oportunidades contra Richard Commey. Así que te felicito por eso y quiero saber qué tú piensas de Richard Commey y qué esperas esa noche de Richard Commey.
Bueno,
Sí, déjame primero traducir la pregunta para que entonces tú contestes. The question is, So things didn't go as planned against Romero. Now you are facing Commey. What can fans expect of you against Commey? Jackson, ya puede contestar.
Es como se nos ha abierto nuevas oportunidades después de lo sucedido, que no sucedió lo que tenía que suceder, ya todo el mundo vio lo que pasó, pero eso es ahora. Te esperamos un Richard Commey que venga con buenas condiciones. Sabemos que es un buen peleador, no lo subestimamos en nuestra preparación. Tenemos bien pendiente que tiene bastante experiencia, es un boxeador que va a llevar nuestro nivel al máximo, lo va a exigir al máximo. Pienso que será un excelente combate.
You know, I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Things didn't go as planned in my last fight, but you know, I know that Richard Commey is gonna bring the best out of me, and I'm ready for him to do that and, you know, get the win on Saturday against Commey.
Thank you very much, Ivan. And now we're going to go back to J.R. Bell. J.R., please unmute and ask your question when ready, sir.
Hello, Jackson. Given that you're facing a former IBF world champion in Richard Commey, do you think a win puts you right back into the world title picture since you had your shot against Rolando Romero, but you could get right back with a win?
Que si piensas que una victoria contra Commey te pondría en posición para pelear por un título mundial, dado ya que pues Commey pues ha sido campeón mundial, y a pesar de lo que pasa en tu última pelea, pues una victoria entre Commey pues te pone en esa posición de pelear por un título.
Sí, eso todo tenemos muy bien pendiente, por eso hemos tomado este gran reto como la pelea de nuestra carrera, ¿me entiendes? Es lo que nos catapulta. Ganándole a Richard Commey nos pone ya entre los niveles grandes de las 135 libras, que es una categoría que está bastante activa, una categoría que está bastante caliente, y saliendo airoso de este compromiso, pienso yo que estaríamos ya entre esos planos de los grandes peleadores.
You know, that's the reason why we took this fight, because we know that Richard Commey is a big challenge. He's going to be possibly right now is going to be the biggest fight of my career. But I took the risk because I know that by beating him, it will catapult me to a world title opportunity. And, you know, that's what we're working hard for.
All right. Again, everybody, if you want to ask a question, please, you can send me a direct message in the chat, or you can use the raise hand button on your Zoom in order to do so. So you have a couple of questions here. You know, Jackson, I know there was a lot of, Guardia, you could translate. I know there was a lot of back and forth between you and Rolando Romero. Can you set the record straight? Did they ever offer you a rematch, or did they not? What is the real story behind the scenes there, Jackson?
Jackson, habla él que entre tú y Romero hubo un para atrás y para adelante, un dime un direte, como quien dice. De mucha habladuría, que quizás te habían dicho que después de la pelea te querían dar una revancha, pero nunca se dio. Que si puedes dar entonces tu versión de qué exactamente fue lo que sucedió después de esa pelea.
Sí, claro, después de lo que sucedió, mi equipo, mi manejador y yo y el equipo estuvimos buscando la revancha, que nos dieran la revancha, y no nos dieron la revancha. Incluso contactamos con la AMB y se analizaron la pelea, dijeron que iban a dar una revancha mandatoria, y no nos dieron nada de qué hablar sobre la revancha. Eso se cayó automáticamente. Se nos presentó una buena oportunidad, que fue esta pelea con Richard Commey, y sí, después que salió a la luz todo esto, estoy escuchando en las redes sociales que ellos sí nos ofrecieron la revancha, y eso es mentira. Nosotros nunca nos ofrecieron la revancha.
after the last fight, a lot went down, a lot of back and forth, like you mentioned, went down. I tried to get my team and we went after the rematch, and we even spoke with the WBA, for them to mandate a rematch, but that never happened. And then after a little bit, we got offered this fight, which was a big opportunity, and we took it. And after we took this fight, that's when they started talking about saying that they have offered me a rematch against Romero, but that never happened.
Well, thank you for setting the record straight there, Jackson. We're going to go back to Ivan Montiel. Ivan, one more question from you, sir.
Hablando de una posible revancha contra Rolando Romero, si salen todas las cosas buenas con tu pelea entre Richard Commey, ¿quisieras esa revancha y es posible que se pueda hacer esa revancha?
Mira, nosotros ahora mismo yo no tengo esa revancha como una prioridad. Sí la quiero, pero no la tengo como una prioridad, ya que ganándole a Richard Commey, ya el mundo sabe que se me abrirían nuevas oportunidades, incluso oportunidades mucho más grandes, quizá título más grande. Eso entonces estaría de parte de hablar con mi equipo, con mi manejador, y ver qué nos ofrecen, pero ahora mismo no lo tengo como una prioridad, sino ver hacia adelante, hacia un futuro, pasándole a Richard Commey.
After I beat Commey, I have another priority right now. Like, if I beat Commey, I feel that will put me in another position to fight for another title. I still want the rematch against Romero, but it will not be a priority for me right now. I will look for, bigger challenges and bigger matches to get bigger purses and, and get more world titles opportunities.
All right. Thank you so much, Ivan. And we've got a question from Jeremy Harridges. Jeremy, I'm going to unmute you. Please go ahead when ready.
Hi, Jackson. Not to harp too much on the Rolando Romero fight, but looking at Romero, his style, the way he comes forward, heavy hands, do you feel like he was the perfect warm-up for a fighter like Richard Commey, who's known for his power?
¿Cómo te estás preparando para Richard Commey, sabiendo que a diferencia de Romero también tiene mucha pegada?
Bueno, nos estamos preparando al 100, nos estamos preparando bien concentrado, bien tratando de minimizar cualquier tipo de error que tengamos, que hayamos cometido en nuestra pelea anterior, no subestimándolo sobre todo, y bien concentrado. Estamos ya al 100, como se dice, estamos al 100, estamos bien preparados para darle un excelente combate y salir de nuestro compromiso.
I'm very well prepared for this fight. I'm 100% focused on my opponent, and we have worked very hard, and not underestimating Commey. We know what we're going against for. So I'm preparing very well. I feel 100%, and my eyes are on the target.
Thank you, and best of luck on Saturday.
And I think we got one more question here. I see Richard Commey is early and on time, like a true champ. Thank you, Richard. We got one more question. I believe J.R. Bell has another question. J.R., unmute and go ahead for Jackson when ready.
Given that you'll be here on the Top Rank card on ESPN, how does it feel being featured in these previous two fights, with a lot of eyes, on you through the television screen for these fights?
¿Cómo te sientes al saber que vas a tener tantos ojos mirándote en esta cartelera que va por ESPN? ¿Qué tipo de reacción merece eso?
Bueno, me siento súper emocionado, la verdad que me siento súper emocionado, súper agradecido por la gran oportunidad, y sabiendo que todo un país me va a ver, todo el mundo, todos los fans que ahora me siguen, que están preguntando cuál iba a ser mi próxima pelea, que están pendientes a lo que es la carrera ahora mismo de Jackson Marinez. Me siento súper emocionado por eso.
I'm very excited for this fight because I know that my whole country will be watching, the whole world will be watching, and I'm very excited for this big opportunity, knowing that I'm going to have a lot of eyeballs watching, and that's what I'm going to put a great performance.
Thank you very much. I think Mike, you got a question. You should be unmuted, so please unmute and then ask your question when ready.
All right, thank you. Jackson, el pregunto es que después del pelea con Romero, como era de cerca y controversial, pues ellos decían que tenías la oportunidad de una revancha, no salió así, pero ganas otra gran oportunidad con un ex campeón del mundo en Richard Commey. ¿Qué es el sentido, pues, de ganar una otra oportunidad después de un robo, pues, con Rolando Romero?
Bueno, es algo emocionante, como lo dije, esto fue que Dios no quiso que pasara. La cosa siempre pasa porque Dios siempre tiene un propósito mayor y si no pasó eso con Romero era porque él no tenía algo mucho mejor más adelante y eso es lo que se está viendo ahora mismo, que se nos presentó una gran oportunidad con un buen boxeador, buen experimentado como es Richard Commey.
The question was about the rematch against Romero, but then getting the big opportunity against Commey. He said Romero said that he's very fortunate for this big opportunity to present himself. He knows that he wanted the win against Romero, but it didn't happen, and things happen for a reason. He believes that God has a bigger purpose for him, and it's showing right now because he has this big opportunity against Commey on Saturday.
All right. Thank you so much, Jackson, for joining us today. We will see you in Las Vegas very shortly. So thank you so much for taking the time to speak with all the reporters today. Jackson, buena suerte. Guardy, thank you so much for translating. And we will now proceed with the other half of our co-main event. He is the former IBF lightweight world champion in his first bout since that December 2019 showdown against Teofimo Lopez. But he's back and he's ready to prove that he's once again a top lightweight contender ready for a world title shot. So please, everybody, welcome Richard Commey. Richard, it's been 14 or so months. It's been about 14 or so months since you've been out of the ring. Can you talk to us I know obviously the pandemic's happened and it's happened to everybody, but can you talk about what you've been up to in these last 14 months and what you're looking to show the fans in your big return to the ring?
Yeah, since after the fight with Teofimo, went back home, and then very unfortunately the breakout of the COVID, so I was back home, training a little bit, keeping in shape because I know we're on the lockdown. So as a boxer, you always have to keep fit. So training a little bit till I go back in August. So I go back in August, and then I started working out, and there was I got a date, and then so be it. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Richard. And also joining us is Richard's promoter, the International Boxing Hall of Famer, Lou DiBella. Lou, I know I think you just joined in the middle of Richard's question, but from your perspective, how did you, and your team sort of, work to regroup? And I know Mickey, Richard's manager, is on the call as well. Following that setback against Teofimo Lopez, or what was the strategy in terms of getting Richard back in a meaningful fight, and going from there?
Well, we still believe Richard Commey could be champion again. And I know Richard believes he could be champion again. We had built into our deal when we fought Teofimo a fight, win, lose, or draw afterward with Top Rank. And my conversations with Top Rank basically involved, wanting to make a significant fight for Richard that could help elevate him, to championship level stuff in the future. In order to do that, you have to fight a championship level guy. And everyone on our team had reviewed Marinez's last fight. I don't think there was any of us that believed he had lost. I think Marinez should be undefeated. I think he absolutely himself is a championship caliber fighter, but I think he's someone that Richard will beat. And we wanted Richard to get the most significant fight we could make for him. That's what the Marinez fight is. It's on a terrific card. I'm a huge Joe Smith fan. And I think it'll be a great opportunity for Richard to reestablish himself as what we all know he is, which is one of the best lightweights in the world.
Thank you, Lou. And Lou will be on with us during the Commey Q&A portion. So if you have questions for Lou as well, he's unmuted and will be available to answer questions. We're going to lead things off with the Richard Commey part of the Q&A with Jake Donovan. Jake, you're back. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Evan. Richard, welcome back to the ring. Looking forward to seeing you this weekend. For you, how important was it for you to get a fight of this magnitude? Like, not just to take a tune-up fight, but to get, a fight of this significance, get right back in the title picture.
Yeah, it's very important. Like, it always been a dream to be a two-time world champion. And ever since my loss, I've been wanting to come back. And it's a great fight for me to get back into the midst of it. The lightweight is packed. The lightweight is amazing. And, I always feel like whatever happens with Teofimo, just one of those things happen. So as a true champion, all you got to do is to come back and come back strong. And after this is going to let me, once I win this fight, I'm going to be in the midst and then show the world that, yeah, it's not yet over. I still got a lot in the tank. Yep.
All right, no doubt. And then I know it's always a risk. You take you're out of the ring for 14 months. You don't know what to expect on fight night. But what measures have you taken to make sure, to minimize any amount of ring rust that you'd be carrying into the ring?
Yeah, I came back and I've been working a lot. I've been in the ring, sparring the right guys, and been trying to be smart. So it's been great. I don't really feel like I've been out for that long. Because I look great, I look sharp, I've been working on stuff in the gym, so I feel good.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Richard. Welcome back, and look forward to seeing you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jake. And now we go ahead. Can we go ahead to J.R. Bell? J.R., unmute, and please go ahead and ready.
Now, following up with your preparation for this fight against Jackson Marinez, you said that you've been in the gym working out, sparring and things like that. Like, how long did it take for you to kind of be comfortable in the gym? Like, you didn't have to shed that much weight or anything like that to be ready for this fight.
Well, when you're working, always you're in the gym. It doesn't take much long to be in shape. And you got great guys like Andre, Gary, working, having time with you to prepare. All you got to do is just standing up. Once I had the fight, once I had the day for the fight, just standing up and then be preparing. I'm always, whenever I'm not doing anything, back home in Ghana, I always do stuff. I don't try to be out of shape too much. So, it's always great. This is boxing. This is what I do. So, it is what it is, and I feel good.
Gotcha. And a question for Lou DiBella there. Seeing that you have Commey in here in this particular fight, what do you feel like he could be in position for in the future if he gets this win? If it's like an immediate title shot or something else to kind of keep him busy in 2021?
I think if he beats a fighter as good as Marinez and shows the whole world that he's back to where he was, I think that there are loads of, it's a very talent-rich, star-rich division with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney sitting there. There's Teofimo Lopez still sitting there, though I think that's the most unlikely situation. But there are a lot of other quality lightweights and guys holding belts and championship caliber fighters. And I think, if Richard wins a fight of this significance, he's certainly not going to go to something less significant.
JR, do you got any more questions, JR, before we let you go? Nope. All right. So now we're going to go to Ivan Montiel. Ivan, please unmute and go ahead when ready.
Good day, Commey. Good to see you back. Everyone's talking about your opponent, Marinez, and his last fight against Romero. Your thoughts on that fight, and what can you expect from Marinez going into this fight?
I think, watching that fight, I think, he did what he had to do, and I feel like he won that fight as well. But yeah, it is sometimes, stars bring fights. So, you know what I mean? He did what he had to do, but it's all about me, no Romero anymore. And, you know what I mean? I've been in there, and I feel like this is the right time for me. Just definitely it's all about winning, and, we work on what we got to do in the gym. So on the 9th, definitely, I'm going to show that I belong there, and definitely the win is mine.
Also, you have a lot to prove now that you're back, and based on what happened in your last fight. So, do you want to make a statement against Marinez? Do you want to go for the knockout? You want to show the world?
Like I always said, in my entire career, I never tried to go into the ring trying to knock anyone out. I never planned that. I just go in there, work on things that I work in the gym, and work out, do what I have to do. And if the knockout comes, it always comes as a bonus. And I thank God if knockout comes, you know what I mean? But definitely, I'm just going there. This is a 10-round fight, and I'm ready to do 10 rounds. So whatever comes before or after, it's all about winning. And whichever way it comes, I'm gonna win. That's all.
All right. Any final questions for Richard before he goes, or for Lou DiBella? Please again raise hand or send me a private message in the chat, and we will get to that. Richard, while we await a couple last questions, do you think too much was made out of the Teofimo Lopez loss? I mean, it was sort of, you got caught in the second round, and the fight was sort of over shortly after that. Do you think too much was made of the loss, and what do you hope to prove to people that maybe doubt you coming off that fight?
Well, I don't really have to prove much, because we all see what happened. And on that fight, I thought the referee should have given me a little bit of time. But, whatever happens, it happens. You know what I mean? And this is boxing. Big champions always go down. Muhammad Ali, and even recent, we have Anthony Joshua going through the same thing, but he come back great. So I don't really have anything to prove. I'm just coming back to do what I got to do by staying sharp and, staying focused just to win this fight. And then, everyone knows what I can do. So there's no point for me to prove anything. I'm just coming in there, being relaxed, try to take my time, and win it right by round. And then we'll see what happens in the future, as Lou DiBella said.
Thank you. And a couple more questions for Richard before we go. Jeremy Harridges. Jeremy, you're unmuted. Please go ahead.
Hi, Richard. Hi, Lou. I talked to Richard some time ago at length. So this question's for you, Lou. Looking at the landscape of the lightweight division, there's some great knockout punchers, but I would say the one thing with Richard is, he's one of the best with 81% KO rating. Do you think that he's one of, if not the best knockout puncher in the division? And how do you think his power stacks up to some of the other fighters?
Well,
I'm sorry, that was for Lou.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm going to unmute Lou right now. Lou, you should be unmuted. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Look, Richard is a huge puncher, but as you saw the Teofimo Lopez fight, if you get caught with a big punch you don't see coming, it's a problem. But Richard's punching power is potentially a problem for anybody. I think his punching power is right at the top of the division and that same kind of level as Lopez's, honestly. I think Richard has the ability to take you out with a combination or with one punch. And I think that that's an element of his game. I also think he's a really fine boxer. What happened in the Teofimo Lopez fight was sort of a worst case scenario for us is, I think that he had a good round and was getting a little bit comfortable, and then something got thrown that he didn't see coming. And by the way, as we learned subsequent to Richard's knockout, Teofimo Lopez is a hell of a fighter. But Richard Commey is a hell of a fighter himself, a hell of a puncher, and has the ability to damage anybody at lightweight.
No doubt. Thank you, Lou, and best of luck, Richard.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lou, and thank you, Richard, for joining us today. Richard, before we let you go, do you have any final statements you want to say to the fans and to the media before we see you in Las Vegas?
Yeah, first off, I want to thank Lou DiBella for for everything. I want to thank my managers, Michael Amubidiako, for being there for me right from the beginning. Kid Cloney, my team, Andre, Gary, and all the guys at the gym. We've been working so hard, and I thank them for all the workout they give me and everything. God bless us all, and can't wait to win again. Can't wait to come back into winning ways, and then we look forward to what the 2021 for us. God bless us all.
Hey, well, Richard, thank you so much for joining us today. And I know everybody at Top Rank, we're looking forward to seeing you again soon, my friend. So best of luck, and we will see you in Las Vegas, sir.
Thank you. God bless.
Bye, Richard. All right. Thank you. And that was Richard Commey, former IBF lightweight world champion, on the line with us. And so we are now going to move to the main event portion of our broadcast of our call. But before we do that, we have the president of Top Rank, Mr. Todd DeBuff, on the line. So Todd, can you talk about, obviously this is a significant fight, but the big picture, what the Joe Smith Maxim Vlasov fight means and what this could ultimately lead to as we progress in 2021.
Yeah, thanks, Evan. Thanks for everybody jumping on this. First of all, to start the year off with a fight of this magnitude and a show of this magnitude is tremendous. And we've obviously coming off a great string with record-breaking ratings, in the fourth quarter of last year. So, you have just a great match in the light heavyweight division. And as you can see that, again, two guys that are very telegenic. You have Better BF, who's in the wings waiting with his fight that is scheduled for March, that is chomping at the bit to fight and unify. And I think one of the things we're seeing is as we saw with the conversation that we're talking about, Lou and Richard Commey we're talking about, is guys coming together and bringing all the titles together on the line. So as they did with Teofimo and Loma, and hopefully we see with the big heavyweights, and maybe at 140 we're getting there, you're seeing this kind of come together. And this is a big step towards an exciting division. That we think that the titles could all come together and we can anoint one superstar. So terrific match. We've been waiting to do this match. Obviously, Maxim is not as well known in the United States as Joe Smith, and Joe's great performance that he had catapulted his career with the Bernard Hopkins fight really has made an indelible mark on people that know of him. I think Hopkins went out of the ring, and I think we're really he had a terrific performance last time against Alvarez in the bubble. So punchers, telegenic behavior, exactly what the fans want, and this is just the beginning of a great run for the light heavyweight division.
And thank you, Todd. We're just waiting Max's audio to come through. So as soon as Max's audio comes through on the Zoom, we can begin with his portion of the call. But Todd, while we wait for Max, we just had Richard Commey on. We just had Jackson Marinez on. Can you talk a little bit about that fight? I know Lou mentioned part of the deal for the Teofimo Lopez fight was bringing back Richard on ESPN, but how important was it to get Richard, a fight of significance, a fight of significant magnitude, obviously with the lightweight division being the way it is?
I want to kind of devalue what Lou said a little bit about part of the deal was to get this as part of it. And as much as that was a commitment, that's not really what this is about, right? This is really about, devaluing the loss, right? If a guy goes out there like Richard Commey and has a terrific career and fights one of the best fighters in the world and gets caught with a punch, does that mean that that's the end of their career? And I think us in boxing have to be a little more sensitive to the fact that, hey, one loss is not the end. Let's have some flexibility in this. Richard has been a very telegenic fighter, a terrific knockout puncher. And, for somebody to take the risk and to go do the big fights and entertain fans, it doesn't mean the end. And I think this is part of the trend where you put everything out, you put the effort out there, you put out, you show what you have, you talk the talk, you fight the best opportunities in front of you. Win or lose, you will have opportunities. And this is a real credit to him and his team for sticking with it and understanding that we support that belief too.
And thank you very much, Todd. And while we wait for Max, he's logging in on another device. Joe, I see Joe DeGuardia is here. I'm Joe. I'm unmuting you, sir. Joe, obviously this is a highly anticipated light heavyweight matchup. Joe has been with Joe Smith since basically the beginning. So Joe, I know this is Joe Smith's second world title opportunity. What does this mean for you to sort of be there with Joe from the beginning, and as he's earned a second world title shot, and sort of can you talk about that journey that you two have gone through together?
Oh, sure. Look, it's a fantastic journey. It's great that we're able to culminate now and be in this kind of fight for the championship of the world. When you have a guy who really resonates with the common person, the common fan, the working man, and you see how, he's come up and now he's going to be fighting for the championship of the world on a mega event next week on ESPN, seen by, I don't know, Todd will tell you how many people will ultimately be seen by, but we're talking about, a massive audience and a massive opportunity for him. And it's great. It's a great feeling, especially when, you work the way he worked through it, we worked through it. I mean, he came up a tough way on a hard fighting circuit here in New York, took the fights. He took every fight that we ever asked him. And now to see him reach the stage where he's recognized now as being, one of the top, if not the top light heavyweight in the world, it's a great thing. And it's a testament to his hard work and grit. And because of that hard work and grit, it's really rewarding. It's been very rewarding for me to see him get to that level. I love it, actually. It's fun to watch him fight. He's one of the few guys that really gets me thrilled to watch him fight.
Thank you, Joe. And I see Maxim Vlasov is on the line. Max, please unmute. Please unmute, and then we'll get to your portion of the Q&A. Max, perfect. All right. Thank you, Joe. Stay with us. Mr. DeGuardia will be with you, and Joe Smith, the two Joes, join us in a few minutes. Welcome, everybody. Maxim Vlasov is here with us. We have Natalia on the line. She will translate everything from English to Russian for Max. So again, please just after you ask the question, give Natalia time to translate for Max, and then she will translate the answers back in English. Okay, so again, raise hand button or send me a private message in order to ask a question. But first, I'm going to start. Max, welcome.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Yeah, thank you, Max. And Max, we have Natalia to translate for you as well. So Natalia, can you ask Max, can Max put into words what this opportunity to fight for a world title means for him?
Добрый день, Макс. Привет, добро пожаловать. Вопрос такой, скажи, пожалуйста, что для тебя значит эта возможность бороться за звание чемпиона мира сейчас?
Ну, это огромный шанс для меня, и, скорее всего, это один из последних, потому что, уже возраст, и у меня очень длинная карьера, много боев, поэтому это огромный шанс, который я собираюсь использовать, и я очень благодарен судьбе, что она мне дала этот шанс, и я готов к нему на 100%. Ну, это все, к этому я шел всю свою жизнь.
This is a great chance for me, great opportunity. So just taking into account everything, my age, and that I've had a very lengthy and great career. I've had so many fights. And this time I'm grateful to my destiny that it presented such an opportunity for me. And I will do my best. I will fight my best.
Thank you, Max. And we're going to go to the first question. Keith Idek from Boxing Scene. Keith, please unmute and go ahead and ready, sir.
Yes, could you ask Max what he thought of Joe Smith's performance against Eleider Alvarez? And did Joe Smith do things in that fight that maybe surprised him in terms of how well he boxed and how, and everything he did against Alvarez to win that fight?
Скажи, пожалуйста, Макс, вспомни этот бой у Джо Смита вместе с Альваресом, и по твоему мнению, сделал ли он что-то, применил ли он какие-то специальные технику, либо что-либо особенное для того, чтобы выиграть этот бой, и вообще, как он показал себя в этом бою?
На мой взгляд, что ничего особенного он там не показал. Он боксировал точно так же, как и всегда, как и во всех боях. Ну, может быть, немного агрессивнее, немного с большим напором, но каких-то новых личных там качеств он не показал. Здесь скорее было поражение Альвареса, то есть его ошибки. Он допускал очень много ошибок в этом бою и позволял делать Смиту то, что он хотел, то, что ему нужно было. Поэтому я считаю, что нет, Смит как бы он достаточно простой боксер, то есть он действует достаточно прямолинейно, идет вперед, много атакует и тяжело и жестко. То есть все делает достаточно одинаково. Поэтому я не считаю, что здесь была чисто заслуга Смита. Больше здесь были недостатки Альвареса.
I don't think that Joe Smith did anything in particular to win the fight with Alvarez. It's not like he presented a new technique or did something outstanding or outrageous. I would rather say that Joe Smith was just fighting more on the offensive. He was more aggressive during that fight, but he was himself. So it's more like I would say that the mistakes that Alvarez did allowed Joe Smith to advance and to outbox Alvarez. And Smith is a very, very direct fighter. He's a very simple fighter and predictable. So he always the same. So that's why I believe that the mistakes of Alvarez allowed Joe Smith to win the fight.
Can you also ask him what he saw in the fight against between Joe Smith and Dmitry Bivol, in which Bivol obviously outboxed Joe Smith relatively easily?
А сейчас, пожалуйста, скажи, Максим, что ты заметил во время боя между Джо Смитом и Биволом, русским бойцом, что позволило Биволу победить настолько с легкостью победить Джо Смита в этом бою?
Но именно то, о чем я говорил, это прямолинейность Джо. Дмитрий, очень грамотно вел бой, он практически не делал то, что выгодно. То есть он не так много шел назад, а в основном смещался на ногах и дезориентировал Джо постоянно. Поэтому ему было достаточно просто боксировать с ним.
Again, I would say it's just the strength of Bivol. So Bivol he didn't step back ever. He didn't backpedal. He was standing toe to toe to Joe Smith, and he was strong. He was tough. That's why it was very easy for him to box with Joe Smith and to win.
Thank you very much, Keith. Now we're going to go back to the UK with Jonathan Nagyov. Jonathan, please unmute and go ahead and when ready, sir.
Hey, Max. Joe Smith told me that if he beats you, he wants to face Artur Beterbiev in a unification. Obviously, Dmitry Bivol is the other belt. Have you thought about the possibility of facing either one of them potentially in Russia? Is that extra motivation?
I apologize. Would you repeat the name of the first boxer you just mentioned before the Bivol? Who was that?
Yeah, Beterbiev and Bivol.
Okay. Значит, Максим, в интервью Джо Смит сказал, что он дальше есть планы у него после этого боя, а если он выиграет или проиграет, он хотел бы бороться с двумя другими сильнейшими бойцами, и в том числе опять с Биволом. Что ты можешь сказать по этому поводу? Может быть, ты хотел бы сам с ним встретиться? Какие шансы были бы в этом бою?
Во-первых, хочу сказать, что все эти планы преждевременны. Пусть сначала он пройдет меня, а потом уже будет думать о дальнейшем. Как часто бывает, вот эти заглядывания за спину, так называемые, то есть они ни к чему хорошему не приводят. Поэтому я понимаю, что да, здесь я выступаю андердогом, и То есть на меня ставки небольшие, но я собираюсь всех удивить, и поэтому я бы не советовал ему сейчас думать о будущем. Пускай он подумает лучше о нашем бое. Вот. Поэтому, что касается боев там с Дмитрием Биволом и Артуром Бетербиевым, они чемпионы, естественно, я хотел бы с ними встретиться в случае победы над Джо, но я об этом сейчас не думаю. Я смотрю только на предстоящий бой с Джо и думаю только о нем. Поэтому здесь нельзя заглядывать, ну, как говорят в России, заглядывать за спину, то есть смотреть в будущее. Сейчас нужно сконцентрироваться именно на этом бое.
So I would I would advise Joe Smith to not look forward so far. He has to outbox or pass through me first, and then to plan his further fights. As I said already, I understand that in this particular fight with Joe Smith, I'm rather an underdog, yes, and nobody stakes on me much in this particular fight, but I'm gonna to take everybody by surprise. And then, yes, I might think about further fights, what to do next. To fight with these obvious champions, these great fighters, Arthur Beterbiev or Bivol. So, but this is my next step. Right now, I'm fully focused on this upcoming fight with Joe Smith Jr.
Thank you. We have a couple more questions for Max because I see Joe Smith, I see Jerry Capabianco, Joe DeGuardia, the whole Long Island crew is in the chat, but we have a couple more questions for Max before we get to them. So J.R. Bell, please unmute and go ahead when ready, sir.
Yes, one question there. Coming from the cruiserweight division, like how comfortable have you been here at light heavyweight, given your wins over the likes of Isaac Chilemba and Omar Garcia?
Значит, сейчас вопрос. Принимая во внимание то, что вы раньше боролись в тяжелом весе, в круизер весе, а сейчас вы перешли в легкий тяжелый вес. Насколько комфортно, Макс, ты себя чувствуешь в этой весовой категории, принимая во внимание твои победы, которые ты одержал в прошлом над такими бойцами, как Омар Гарсия?
Ну, начнем с того, что я начинал свою карьеру как средний вес, долгое время боксировал в суперсреднем весе. И, естественно, первый тяжелый вес, то есть крузервейт, это не моя категория. Можно сказать, я оказался там случайно. И, в принципе, мои физические данные, так скажем, моя конституция, она не подходит для этого веса. Там люди все намного крупнее, мощнее физически. И да, я сделал попытку, в принципе, она была достаточно удачной, на мой взгляд, и я даже смог побороться там за временный титул WBO, но все-таки в итоге я принял решение, что это не мой вес, и мне гораздо комфортнее боксировать именно в полутяжелом весе сейчас, потому что здесь я могу быть, так скажем, более интересным боксером. Я могу делать те вещи, которые я не мог делать с лишним весом, который у меня был в крузервейте. Поэтому, да, здесь мне гораздо комфортнее, и я думаю, что бои мои, интереснее в этом весе.
First of all, cruiserweight is not my original weight. I started as a middleweight fighter. So later on, yes, I tried to move up to category, but it was rather an accident. So I even had an attempt to get a WBO temp title, and in the cruiserweight. And however, I don't think that this is a long-term objective for me, and I don't feel as comfortable as in light, heavyweight, and middleweight. As like this extra weight, if I take it off me, I can be a more interesting and a better fighter. So I'm sure that I will continue fighting in the light, heavyweight, and middleweight rather than cruiserweight, because cruiserweight fighters are larger, like fighters, they're bigger, and it's not what I want to do in future.
Thank
middle.
you. Oh, sorry, Max. Yep, you're saying?
Это вопрос к переводчику, просто про middleweight немножко некорректно. Я не собираюсь боксить с middleweight. Just
I apologize. So I made a mistake. So I said that Max will continue middleweight, and he just corrected me that no, I'm not gonna do middleweight. It was the beginning of my career only, so it will be light heavyweight only.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Max, and thank you, Natalia, for translating. So that will end the Maxim Vlasov portion of the call. But before we go, Max, any final things you want to say to the fans and the media as we await your title shot? Natalia, just ask him if he has any final thoughts.
Макс, скажи, пожалуйста, у вас есть какие-то еще заключительные мысли, которые ты хотел бы выразить для прессы? Ну вот скажи что-нибудь, если у тебя есть что им сейчас сказать.
Хочу сказать, что независимо от результата, я считаю себя уже победителем, и вот этот бой, который состоится, то это для меня уже это огромная победа в моей карьере. Поэтому я счастлив быть здесь, счастлив участвовать в этом поединке. И я хочу сказать, что отдам всего себя для победы и постараюсь провести титул домой. Вот. И хочу сказать тем, кто не верит в меня и считает меня андердогом в этом бою, что вы сильно ошибаетесь, вы, наверное, не все понимаете. Понятно, что бой будет сложный, и Смит очень сильный соперник для меня, но я собираюсь, как я говорил, собираюсь удивить всех.
Yes, I would like to say that I am happy that I have this opportunity to fight this fight with Joe Smith. I consider myself the winner up front. I feel as one, and I understand that the fight will be tough. But I'm happy, again, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to fight this fight. And if anybody is defying me, as I said before, I will surprise you all.
Thank you, Max. Thank you, Natalia. We will see you all at the press conference on Thursday. And again, thank you very much, and we'll see you then. And now we're going to move over to the other half of this main event with the blue collar hero from Long Island, Mr. Joe Smith Jr. Joe, are you there, sir?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yes, I hear you, Joe. There you are.
Guys hear?
Yes, I can hear you, Joe. Joe, welcome. And it's been, I don't know, almost 2 years, about 2 years since your last world title opportunity. How excited are you to once again get a crack at a light heavyweight world title?
I mean, I'm very excited. This is what we all work for.
Yes, that is true, and I think you showed that with your wins, two upset wins. I don't know. Joe, the bookmakers don't seem to like Joe Smith because against Jesse Hart and against Eleider Alvarez, he was the betting underdog and proved the odds makers wrong once again. Also, again, everybody, same thing. Raise hand button or message me privately if you have a question. Joe Smith is on the line, Joe DeGuardia is on the line, and Todd DeBuff are on the line. So whomever you'd like to ask a question, just please let me know, and we will get to that. Our first question comes from Jeremy Harridges. Jeremy, please unmute and go ahead.
Hi, Joe. Thank you for taking the time. I'm curious about how familiar are you with Maxim Vlasov? How much film have you studied, and are there any particular fights that you've paid attention to?
I've watched a few of his fights. I've been paying attention to the more recent ones, but as far as I see, he's just a very busy, durable guy.
Obviously, he's got some size to him. He's fought as heavy as cruiserweight.
I just lost.
Jeremy, that was my bad, Jeremy. I accidentally muted you. Please start the question.
No worries, it's all good. My question for you, Joe, was obviously he's got some size to him. He's fought as a cruiserweight before. How do you trump size with a fighter? How do you work around that?
Honestly, I like fighting bigger guys and taller guys. So I'm just gonna do what I do. Stay busy and use my jab and work my way inside.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. Joe, it looks like your video is off. So if I don't know if the reception where you are is not great, but if you can turn the video on, that would be greatly appreciated. I think the reporters would rather see you than them. Just a hunch there. So we will continue with Keith.
My video's on.
There we go. It says yes. Keith Eidick, please. Yeah, we're just getting a blank screen with you, Joe. But hey, if the video's not working, we can deal with the audio. So Keith Eidick, you should be unmuted. So please go ahead when ready, sir.
Oh, hey, Joe. Max Vlasov said on his portion of the call that anyone who underestimates him will be very surprised on Saturday night. What do you think just overall? I know you mentioned that he's a busy guy and a durable guy, but maybe how does he compare to some of the fighters that you fought recently, particularly elite level fighters like Alvarez and Dmitry Bivol?
Joe, Joe, you there, sir? I guess Joe Smith's having a minor technical issue. So while we wait for him to rejoin us, well, hold on one second. I see him back on. So give me 1 second, Keith. And then when he logs back on, please re-ask the question.
Sure.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir, Joe. We can hear you. Keith, please re-ask that question.
I heard him. I just
beautiful.
I don't know what's.
Joe, can you hear us now? Well, while we wait for Joe to fix his technical issue, we got the other Joe. There we go, Joe. We can see you on video. Hold on 1 second, Joe. Stay right there, and please, and answer. You can answer Keith's question. We can see you perfectly. Stay right there.
Well, he's got a lot of experience. He's he seems like all-round good fighter. He's got good right hand, and compared to the other fighters I fought, I mean, I say he's up there. I don't underestimate him and his skill. Like I said, he has a lot of experience. So we're just gonna have to see what happens.
Thank you, Joe.
And thank you, Keith. We're going to go ahead to J.R. Bell. J.R., please unmute and go ahead when ready.
Now, going off of your last fight that you had with Eleider Alvarez, did you think that was one of the best performances that you had in your career going into this fight for the WBO world title?
Yes, I believe my last fight with Alvarez was definitely one of my best performances. He was an elite level guy. He was a former world champion, and I showed up and I dominated him.
Thank you, JR. Joe, Joe Smith, the video is a little choppy. So while we wait just to get that a little cleared up, Joe DeGuardia, Joe Smith just mentioned that he thought the Alvarez performance was sort of the peak of his career. In your opinion, was that the best you had ever seen Joe in the ring?
Well, when you put everything together and you're talking from start to finish, the boxing, the punching, the pressure, yes, I love the performance. I thought he did an excellent performance against Alvarez, and it was from start to finish, and he dominated a guy who had never been dominated like that ever. Knocked out a guy that was a former world champ. I thought it was a great performance. I've been thrilled by a lot of performances by Joe because he's got that one punch knockout power. So, I like the Bernard fight, the knockout of the ring. I love the Fonfara fight. But, yeah, I think the Alvarez fight all together from soup to nuts, start to finish, was his top performance.
And yeah, you mentioned the Fonfara fight, which sort of introduced Joe to the boxing community at large. I think you and Ron Katz probably weren't too surprised with the Fonfara fight, but Fonfara was a 30-1 favorite. People forget that going into that fight, and he was an underdog in the Hopkins fight as well, and so he upset the odds on both of those occasions, which were obviously two of his best performances. We will get back to the questions here. Stephen Carreno, please unmute and ask the question for either Mr. DeGuardia or Joe Smith when ready.
Hello, Joe Smith. Good to have you, man. Thank you for your time. With the mostly pound for pound consensus, Canelo kind of looming around 175, 168. Does that add anything extra to having a title at light heavyweight, knowing that you might get that call to fight the best fighter in the world, being that you have something that obviously he's going for with a title at 175?
Yeah, I mean, definitely everything that this title has to offer is motivating. There's a lot of big fights out there once you get a belt. So, I'm really looking forward to securing this WBO World Championship so I can get those big fights.
Thank you, Stephen. And Crystal Hart, she has a question for Joe DeGuardia. Crystal, please unmute and ask the question for Joe DeGuardia when ready.
Okay, Joe, it's so great to see you and Lou DiBella. Made my day. But what I wanted to ask you is Maximum said he summarized Joe Smith as direct, simple, and predictable. What are your thoughts on that?
I love it. Joe is direct, simple, and predictable. He's predictable to be a thrilling, exciting fight. He's predictable to land that hammer right hand that he's got. And, I love that Joe, the fans know that when you're watching a Joe Smith fight, you can predict excitement, thrilling action, and the things that you want to see in a fighter. So those are the things that I look at as being predictable in Joe.
Thank you, Crystal. And I think, and very well said, Mr. DeGuardia. Ivan Montiel, please unmute. And you have a question for Joe Smith, and go ahead when ready.
Hey, Joe Smith Jr., we're excited to see you back in the ring after your spectacular performance against Alvarez. So many still remember your win over Hopkins and, of course, this most recent win over Alvarez. Pretty much you knocked out Alvarez out of the ring just like you did with Hopkins. So could we possibly see this again in your upcoming fight?
It's definitely something that's possible. I mean, I don't go in there looking for the knockout or always expecting the knockout, but this fight I'm going in, with everything I got. I'm going to give it my best, and if I could get him out of there, I'm definitely going to do that.
Well, thank you, Ivan, and we will wrap it up with no need for 3-hour conference call. We keep it short and sweet here at Top Rank. But before we go, I want the final thoughts from Joe DeGuardia first. Joe, I know you've been around a lot of camps with Joe Smith. You've been through the broken jaws and everything. What have you seen from him in this camp? I mean, you obviously, he's your guy. You seem confident. But what especially have you seen from Joe Smith in this camp that makes you confident that the WBO title will be his come Saturday evening?
I see everything coming together as it has the whole, past year and a half. The Hart fight, the Alvarez fight, and this is the culmination, and we keep building upon it. And Joe, I think, is right there mentally, physically. He's at his peak, and I saw it in this camp as well. He's got great people working with him. I know Capobianco has been working very hard with him, and I'm hearing great things. And I think Joe's just there mentally, physically. He's at the top of his game.
Thank you, Joe DeGuardia. Joe Smith, for your final thoughts. I did want to ask you, you can fold this into your final thoughts. Long Island and New York City and the whole Metroplex has been crushed with snow, 12, 18 inches these last couple of weeks. In the last portion of camp, how have you sort of dealt with the unintended weather and Mother Nature as you finished your final stages of camp?
Couple extra hours of training by an exercise by shoveling, so that was good. got a good arm and back and leg workout, shoveling all this snow.
I think after Joe, after you win the title, you can hire somebody to shovel snow for you, right?
No, I don't mind it. I enjoy being out there and shoveling the snow. Gives me an excuse to play in it.
And Joe, as you're leaving for Vegas, I believe tomorrow. So give us your final thoughts as you're 24 hours away from flying out west for your world title shot.
No, just as Joe was saying, and my trainer Jerry Cap, I'm in the best shape of my life, physically and mentally prepared, and very motivated to put on a great show and take home that belt. It's what I've been training for. This is my second opportunity, had a world title, and I just want to secure that belt this time and bring it home.
Well, I believe
so. Everyone can just go out there and give it the best.
I believe, and I don't have my numbers, I believe if you do so, you'll be the fourth male boxer from Long Island to bring home a world title. Buddy McGirt, Chris Algieri, and I'm forgetting one, so my apologies to whoever I'm forgetting. So you would make a little history if you do so on Saturday night. Thank you, Joe Smith. Thank you, Joe DeGuardia, for joining us on this portion of the call. Just a reminder to everybody, Jamel Herring. Jamel Herring is the other world. How did I forget Jamel Herring, a top-ranked fighter, as the other Long Islander to have won a world title? My apologies, Jamel Herring. Hopefully he does not see that. Jamel Herring was the other one. So again, reminder to everybody, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific time on ESPN Saturday night with Smith-Vlasov and Commey-Marinez. And then at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have a bunch of great fights on ESPN Plus. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us today. And we will see you at the press conference Thursday, weigh-in Friday, fight night Saturday. Again, thank you. And we'll see you then. Cheers.